Hello, everybody. Well, this is it. What might just be the final episode of my little ranking series. In this video, we're doing both Angry Birds Star Wars and Star Wars 2. Mostly because both games share a very similar theme, if you can already tell. So just because I want a bit more substance than just 8 episodes and then another one with 16, so, you know. But first, as is tradition, we give my overall opinion of these games. Absolute peak. Not just peak Angry Birds, not just peak Star Wars, peak gaming in general. And that's amazing. And, they're not perfect. Obviously, both of these games have had their ups and downs. Both of them have episodes that are very low in the ranking, one of which more than the other you'll see in a couple minutes, obviously, but yeah. As much as I love these games, they're still not perfect, and they still don't got perfect episodes. With that being said, however, there is not a single truly awful episode. Each episode has at least something going for it, even if that something is incredibly tiny and small. But yeah, let's just move on and get this done with. Oh shoot, that went too far. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, obviously we got to go over everything about how I systematically judge each of these. I try and be an objective with these, but I do let my own opinions get in the way sometimes. We'll discuss this a bit later. Okay, for the first category is movie relevancy, pretty much the same as it was in Rio. Just how accurate the episode is to the movies or movie, and if the episode itself was even in the movie at all. The good news is every episode here is actually in the movies, so we're only really ranking, how accurate they are to them. And the next one is level design. We've already seen these last three every other time, so I'm just going to skim over these again. How easy or hard are the levels to beat / 3-star? New additions. Did the episode add anything that actually affects gameplay at all? If so, what? Is it good? And delivery, which is just an average. Okay, now for the episodes I won't be ranking. For the original Star Wars, the only episode not included will be the bonus levels, since, it's in the name. It's bonus. It's not an actual part of it. And the reason why I don't rank these bonus episodes, by the way, is because they don't exactly fit the same system as the rest of a majority of the episodes. So it's not really fair ranking those against the way a million other episodes are structured. So, and for Star Wars 2, we only have Master Your Destiny and the Reward chapter. So, yeah, both sections of those will not be included in this video. And as always, disclaimer, like I said, I try to be as objective as possible with these, but my own opinions do get in the way sometimes. And if you disagree with anything I say, you think one of the lower ranking episodes is actually amazing, and one of the higher ranking episodes is actually awful, you're allowed me to disagree, but don't be a jerk. Okay. Now, moving on to number 20. Escape to Tatooine Porkside. Okay. I know I said there was no truly awful episode in this one, but this is definitely the episode I like the least out of all the episodes here, which is why it's at the bottom. I really do not like having to play this episode. For starters, can you remember a single time a bunch of Sith Lords went to Tatooine just to beat up Jawas for no reason? Anakin in episode 2? Okay, that's pretty close. But can you name a single time it happened in The Phantom Menace? because that's what this is supposedly based on. My guess is that it's supposed to be based on the final level, is that this is supposed to be based on the scene where Qui-Gon and Darth Maul have a little fight in the as they go to, escape Tatooine for a couple seconds, about a minute. But is that really worth basing an entire episode on? Especially considering one of the newcomers in this episode is Count Dooku, who's not supposed to show up until episode 2, so what the heck is all that about? Anyway, as for the levels themselves, they're fine, I guess. They're kinda hard, but also beatable if you know the right tricks, so really nothing noteworthy here whatsoever, if I'm being honest with you. And as for the new stuff, there's bones, I guess. Yeah, that is kind of a new thing here, but they're just really clunky and annoying, and I don't like them. And I don't like playing this episode in general, so... Overall, I think the biggest thing weighing down this episode is just its concept. Basing an entire episode off of barely a minute scene is not something very easy to adapt, at least not well, so I can understand why it ended up being at the bottom, but I still feel like they could have done at least a bit better with this one. Anyway, number 19, we have the Boba Fett missions. Hey kids, did you like that Cloud City episode? Remember those levels with Boba Fett in them? Don't you wish you had more of that? Well, if you find all 5 jetpacks, you get 10 more! Yeah, this is just more Cloud City levels with Boba Fett in them. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of Cloud City levels as some of the pictures in here. That's how just more of that this all is. I guess if you technically think about it enough, it is accurate to the movies, but there was no specific scene, I guess, of them all going after Boba Fett. Unless, technically, it's just supposed to be based on the, I don't know, the chase when, with Han Solo and Carbonite. Was that even a thing? Or am I just confusing that with one of the LEGO Star Wars animations? Anyway, it is in the movie, yes, but it's just more of that, so I don't know if it even counts. The levels themselves, again, they're fine. Nothing noteworthy, but the final level has a train in it, and that's pretty awesome. But I'm only saying that because autism, so... And as for new additions, as you can probably guess by how I've been talking about this, it doesn't add anything new whatsoever. So, not much worth talking about there. Either way, this is again, not an awful episode by any means, but still, just mostly filler, if I'm being honest with you. I can't even necessarily say it's Fly Me to the Moon done right or something. Because it's I don't know. I can't even say what this episode's biggest problem is, because, first of all, there's no big problems, and second of all, it's mostly just there. That's it. I don't dread playing this one, but the fact that it has no real reason to be here is mostly what weighs it down, so... Anyway, number 18. We have Rebels Birdside. This one. It sure is an episode that exists. Again, I really don't think there's too much to write home here. In terms of accuracy, it seems pretty accurate, at least. Although, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen the Rebels show, and I really don't have any means to watch it, any way to watch it right now. So, think my biggest problem with the accuracy, actually, is just that we don't play as all the rebels in the actual episode. Though, to be fair, Kanan Jarrus and the other guy, Bomb Terrence, I read the guy's name, are very powerful characters, and I can understand that trying to make levels around them would be very hard without having just 3 stars every single time, but yeah. Oh, and Chopper's there too. See? Level design, this is probably what weighs it down the most for me. The levels can be fun, but they're just so tricky. Like this one, for example. This one is just... Oh, if you saw Bubbles' video, he spent so long trying to beat this level in particular. Oh, so many tries and tries and tries. Honestly, I think Ezra's the biggest problem here. His lasers... You just have to aim it so perfectly, and... He's the only bad character, though. Sabine and the other one... Why am I forgetting so much of Rebels? They're both really good. Other than that, in terms of new additions, again, this doesn't really seem to add much of anything. Like, really at all whatsoever, so... It's just bonus promotional material. That's it. Just bonus promotional material for a show. Again, nothing awful. Like I said, there are no awful episodes here. I keep saying that. There's no awful episodes here, but it's still not the best one. Obviously. I don't have much to say about some of these. Moving on to number 17. Battle of Naboo. Porkside. Oh, this one. Now, here's another one I actually don't like playing. Again. Just... It exists. It's here. I don't know what else to say. There's... accuracy. Well, I guess it was technically in the movie. I don't know. I barely know what this is supposed to be based on. Is this supposed to be based on, like, the scene... I know in the climax of the Phantom Menace, there's, like, 3 different finales going... No, 4. There's 4 going on at once. There was, Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan going against Darth Maul, which is the final level in this one. That one's probably the only thing saving it. Then there was the whole Jar Jar and the Gungans beating up all the battle droids in the middle of an unnamed field, I think. I don't know, it probably does have a name, and I just don't know it. Then there's the whole thing with Anakin. This is pod racing. I'll try spinning. That's a good trick. And then there was the one with Padme and Panaka and all the other idiots fighting battle droids in the Naboo Palace. And I think that last one is what this is supposed to be based on, but it's so loosely based on it, you can barely tell at that point. Anyway, the levels. Oh, it glitched again. Yay, amazing. Pretend there's more awesome footage here. I'm sorry, I don't know how to fix this, but more importantly, it's... their levels. Oh, the one level is probably what drags so much of this down. If you remember our Angry Birds Star Wars 2 playthrough, you'll remember there was one episode King Pig deemed impossible to beat. It was that hard. It was possible. It did prove to be possible. But just... oh my god. Watching that just pains me. Mostly because I hate King Pig, but still. Oh, and also this episode introduces Zam Wesell for no reason. Again, not in the Phantom Menace. Was introduced in Attack of the Clones in the movies, and is introduced in the finale of Phantom Menace. Why? Also, I don't like them. Their ability's awful and isn't even original. Just why? Like, come on. A shapeshifter could have been such a cool Angry Birds concept, and yet you went with the reskin. Whatever. In terms of new additions, there's water, I guess. But we've seen that we've seen this exact water done in so many other Angry Birds games. We saw it in Seasons, we saw it in Rio. Technically Space too, but that was at least different enough to where I could consider it a more unique take on water. This is just water again. Maybe with some logs that, if I'm being honest, serve no real purpose other than to be annoying. Yeah, I really don't like this one. I should have ranked it lower, if I'm being honest. But, hey, objectively speaking, it is one of the better of the bad ones, so... who am I to really complain that hard? Moving on to number 16. Naboo Invasion Porkside. Okay. The start of the Phantom Menace. First episode in the saga. Can you take a wild guess as to who the first pig introduced is? Did you say Darth Maul? Because you're wrong, it was actually Jango Fett. Yeah, another guy from episode 2 being introduced in the Phantom Menace. Like, I get it, we need a variety of characters. But you couldn't have done, like, some of the new Gunray guys, or even... there is the Droideka, but only in bonus levels, for some reason. Palpatine, who else was there? Okay, so maybe there wasn't that many, but you could have at least done something creative. Come on, guys. Whatever. Other than that, again, there's just... I really don't know. I honestly have no idea what this was supposed to be in the movie. My best guess is negotiations, based on where it takes place. But there are so many holes in that theory that it's like, is this even based on the movie, or did they just make stuff up for the episode? Like, what? Anyway, I have neglected to mention that, yes, we do actually play as Darth Sidious and Darth Maul throughout this level, and Darth Maul in the next Porkside episode, which was the worst one here, if you recall. But, yeah. Levels themselves are fine, I guess. I don't even know if I can consider this one a tutorial, because technically it's not. Since the tutorial is the Birdside Naboo invasion, but... yeah. There's giant magnets for some reason, by the way. That's the new addition in this one. Giant magnets. What do those have to do with Star Wars? Good question, because I have no idea. They're just there. Just introduce giant magnets for no reason. You know, I'm beginning to think this game is not all that good, actually. But, yeah. It's pretty clear this episode purely exists to just be a Porkside introduction and nothing more, and they didn't put too much thought into it beyond that. And again, a lot of these are just ranked so low because of just how random they feel and just how much filler, honestly, they feel. So, hopefully things will start to get good from here on out. Next, number 15. Escape to Tatooine. Birdside. You know what? This one actually ain't too bad. I actually kind of enjoy this one for what it is. Alright. In terms of accuracy, We got Anakin and a pod racer. We got coming to Tatooine, more pod race stuff. Final levels of pod race. We got Sebulba as the main villain. We're beating up Tusken Raider pigs for some reason. I don't know why that is, but yeah, I'd say this one is actually fairly accurate to the movies. Good job, you can do that. Wow, I didn't think you could. That's actually kind of amazing. But yeah. Master levels themselves, they can be pretty hard. I'm gonna be honest, they can be pretty hard. But at the same time, they can be really fun. And honestly, I'm not necessarily looking for easy or whatever in my Angry Birds, because obviously it's a video game. You gotta have at least some kind of challenge, otherwise it's not gonna be fun anymore. But I am looking for fun. And some of these levels are pretty fun to destroy, so you know what? That's perfectly fine by me. And as for new additions, there's Gears. I think those are those in the previous one, actually? Those might have been in the previous one. Anyway, there's Gears, and there's also those weird floaty things. I don't know what they're supposed to be, but yeah, you hit them and then they just kind of fly away, or I don't know what they're meant to be, but they can be pretty fun, I guess. I don't know. I think the new editions also weighs these things down just because of how weird it is. Oh, and also, I guess this also introduces Jar Jar. Yeah, I don't like Jar Jar in this game. But, whatever. Overall, I'd say not a bad episode, actually. This is a pretty decent one. Especially this final level here. This final level is really fun. There's just really not too much to say about it, I guess. So I have some good things going for it. A couple things that weigh it down a bit, but for the most part, it's an alright game. Alright episode. Next, number 14, we have Revenge of the Pork. Birdside. Okay. So, when you see the... Here we go again. When you see the name Revenge of the Pork, what would you assume the Birdside is based on? Did you guess Attack of the Clones? Because this time you're actually right. What is with this game? You call your episode Revenge of the Pork and then it's based on Attack of the Clones? Other than that, it's pretty decent. No, because why would you do that? What? You had a whole General Grievous... You could have based it off of the opening rescue. The opening rescue or General Grievous. The pork side can say exactly the same. You'll see where I rank that later, but the pork side can say exactly the same, and that'll be perfectly fine. Just have this first part here. In fact, no, take this and have it be its own separate episode, with the pork side probably being like, I don't know, the whole thing with the confrontation with Count Dooku in the finale or something. Because technically, I guess, Dooku did win there, but still. And then what you do is take the pork side, and then you have the bird side be based Revenge of the Pork, and then you have the pork side, that one stay the same, and then have the bird side be either the opening rescue scene or the General Obi-Wan General Grievous stuff. There, I fixed the game. Hire me, Rovio. Actually, no, don't do that. I hate you. Anyway. I think that's enough. I think that's all I've really had to say. As for the levels themselves, again, they're fine, I guess. They're pretty tricky, but at the same time, it's fun getting the mustache pig spider droid to destroy everything. That's why that's probably my favorite part of the episode. Actually, by the way, is the mustache fake spider droid. It's so funny, and that's it really, just funny. Anyway, as for the new additions, um, where did this episode end? What was it? Just that? I think it was just that. I think it was just the spider droid thing, as well as I think Kit Fisto was pretty fun. I think it's like the only new bird added in this chapter, by the way. But yeah, that's pretty cool and fun, I guess. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about this. Just a fun episode based on the finale of Attack of the Clones. If only it wasn't linked with Revenge of the Sith for some reason. The two things don't even go directly into one another. Just why? Whatever. Moving on. Again. At number 13, we have Rise of the Clones, Birdside. Is this even based on anything specific, or just Coruscant in general? Because I don't think this is based on anything specific. In terms of accuracy, I think this is supposed to be based on the opening chase, but if that's the case, why is it in broad daylight? It's supposed to be at night. I don't know. I think they had too many dark levels with some of the previous chapters and wanted to spice things up a bit, but well, then that just makes for some inaccurate movies, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Because based on what I'm seeing here, this is just supposed to be based on Coruscant in general. Like, the background isn't even original, it's just taken from the title screen. Why? Whatever, it's fine. I think it's just based on the opening in general, not just the opening chase, but also just everything involving Obi-Wan discovering the dagger and all the Jedi Youngling stuff. And actually, wait, no, they were Mace Windu and the Jedi Younglings. They were joining in on some kind of fight. I don't even know what. What is this based on? Whatever. The levels themselves, all the levels actually. This is probably the saving grace of this episode, is the levels, because it's just fun to destroy them. Now, admittedly, those pillars do not want to be destroyed, but when they are, oh, can it cause some fun chain reactions. You know, actually, the levels and the new additions, they actually tie themselves together really well. Okay, because now you have these destroyable platforms, which is very fun, but also you have these vent things, which I'm not sure why they're here, not necessarily in the movies or anything, but oh, they are so fun to use and destroy stuff with. Especially fun to throw your birds into and just have them hit specific spots. And this is honestly great in terms of gameplay. I like this episode in terms of gameplay a lot. The ending here is pretty much just a rip off the pod race final level, by the way, from Escape to Tatooine. But more importantly, as much as I like this episode, and as much as I like playing it, it's still not very accurate to the movie, and I don't know what it's supposed to be exactly. So that's an episode, I guess. Moving on to number 12, we have Rebels Portside. Huh. This one is actually way above the Birdside Rebels. Wonder how that happened. Okay, accuracy. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to level with you guys. I didn't write a specific script for this. But what I did do is I have a Google document of the ranking of all the episodes and the ranking positions, as well as the score I gave for each of them. And I don't know why, but I gave this one a 3 for accuracy. I don't know, I think it's just an effect of the whole I haven't watched Rebels in so long, so I just gave it a 3 just in case, somewhere in the middle. I don't know. Anyway, this one exists. Levels themselves. God, it's been so long since I played. I don't really remember the levels themselves. I think they were fun. I think some of them were kind of hard. They're just fine, I guess. There are some fun aspects of the levels and stuff. The new additions. I think this added like some of those fruit boxes. Did those count, or did I count the new pigs? I think I only counted the new pigs in terms of new additions. One of them just threw bombs. One of them's a reskin of Ezra, and one of them. Oh yeah, there was that. I forgot his name, so I'm just gonna call him Not Corporal Pig. There was Not Corporal Pig, who like summoned a bunch of stormtroopers, and that was pretty fun. And I think there was like one more guy there. Or actually, I don't think. No, I don't think that was. Oh no, was there a stormtrooper? I don't know. I think there was some guy who just shot lasers everywhere or something. I don't really remember, but overall, this episode's pretty fun. But wait, did I use the same level twice? Okay, maybe the levels are actually pretty forgettable. Never mind. Like I said, it's mostly objective. I barely remember this. I don't know why it was ranked so high. Probably just because one of them had to be ranked higher than the others, and it just happened to be this one. I don't know, man. Well, let's just move on. Number 11. Moon of Endor. Oh, finally. The original game again. This one is actually pretty alright. I mean, obviously, it's the first game, so it's going to be way more accurate than the Star Wars 2 stuff. In terms of accuracy, yep, this is the Battle of Endor, alright. Not bad, Rovio. You actually got this one pretty right. I think my one complaint throughout all of this is that despite the fact that the Ewoks are implied to be fighting with us, they don't actually do that. And I feel like it would have been fun for us to have like an actual Ewok bird. Maybe it could have been Bubbles. I don't know. Because we have every member of the main flock, well, technically, because Hal's technically not there. You could argue he's Yoda Bird, but I think it's that Yoda Bird is very much supposed to be his own separate character. Anyway, overall, very accurate to the actual thing where you're beating up everything. I think the only reason why it's not a perfect 5 for accuracy is mainly just because, again, the Ewoks themselves don't directly fight, even though they very much did in the movie. As for the levels themselves, they're pretty fun, I guess. I'm gonna be honest. These are some of the weaker levels in the first Star Wars game, just because they are kinda tricky. But to be fair, I think they were treating Star Wars like an actual game rather than an Angry Birds game, where it's meant to get harder over time. So I guess I can forgive it a little bit. But some of these are just really hard to restart, and I don't like that very much, so. Anyway, as for the new additions, we got logs, we got tree slices, these little things here. There's drums. And two of those do the same thing, where it's just an instant killer, and the drums are just a bouncy thing. We've seen those a million times in Angry Birds. It's been there since the classic days. Come on, guys, do something original for once. Okay, but yeah. Moon of Endor ain't bad. Especially this final level here. This final level was very fun. Not particularly easy to beat or whatever, but it's still very fun to play through and everything, so yeah. Finally, we're getting to the good stuff. Speaking of which, moving on to number 10, Battle of Naboo, Birdside. Oh, now this is a fun one. Okay, yeah, this one I think is mostly what's supposed to be based on the whole Jar Jar Gungan battle droid in the middle of a field stuff I was talking about before. And yeah, it's pretty fun. It feels pretty climactic. Not bad. In terms of accuracy, yeah, this is actually very accurate to the movies. We got all the people we've introduced fighting together in order to help beat up all the big bad guys and stuff. So yeah, maybe a couple people here and there probably shouldn't have been there, but actually, wait, do we ever use Anakin throughout all of this? Because I don't think we do. That's actually a really fun detail, actually. Oh, wow. Okay. Nice. Level design. This is probably what hurts it the most for me. Again, Jar Jar's a part of this, so obviously a lot of levels involving him are gonna suck, because he sucks, but yeah, I think the biggest problem is just this episode's difficulty in general. There are some levels that are just really hard to beat and stuff, so not a huge fan of those. In terms of new additions, though, we got trees. They do they're they're just instant killers. Nothing too crazy for them, but still fun to beat the levels with. Overall, I actually really like this one. It's a fun episode. I like when it's not hard, such as this level, for example. This level's hard. I don't like that, but whatever. It has its moments, I guess. Moving on to number 9, Hoth, or as I like to call it, Hothsteroid Field, because yeah, we are only on Hoth for like the first like quarter of the episode, and then after that it's like bye bye. Final boss level. The final boss. I actually think that's the only thing that hurts this episode the most. It's still really good, but I think what mostly hurts it is just the fact that we are barely on Hoth and the entire episode is themed around it. I feel like maybe I should have split this into 3 chapters. First chapter being Hoth, where the final battle is against like an AT-AT or something. The second episode can be the asteroid field, and the last one can stay as Cloud City, with Path of the Jedi remaining a bonus, and then I don't know, maybe then you could add the unused Jabba's Palace episode for episode 6. The only problem is then that would mean episode 4 is only 2 episodes, and I'm not sure how you would split that into 3, but I don't know, maybe Death Star Part 1 and then Death Star Part 2 or something, I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, accuracy. I think I already mentioned everything. In terms of like the actual movie, though, yeah, this is very much accurate to all that and everything that went on there and stuff. Again, the only problem is that the fact that it's called Hoth and all its branding is themed around Hoth. Most of the episode does not take place on Hoth, and that's a big harming factor of it, I feel. So. Levels themselves, however, are very fun, except for this one, which I hate with all my guts. Yeah, I picked a bad example, but the levels themselves, they're good. These are good levels. They got fun themings and stuff. Me like. Me like. And then in terms of new additions, it sounded like snow stuff, snow, ice, which I think we either already saw it with Winter Wonderham, or this was added like around the same time as Winter Wonderham. I think this episode came out in, was it 2012 actually? I think this might have predated Winter Wonderham actually. Oh no, because the first this game first came out in November, so no, Winter Wonderham, it's definitely imported from Winter Wonderham. Never mind. Well, actually, no, we technically saw it in space first, so not even, never mind, but still. Yeah, levels, they're pretty fun when they want to be. A lot of times they aren't, but I like it. There's really not much to say about the levels. From here on out, they're just fun Star Wars levels at this point. In terms of like new additions, just didn't add much. I don't remember. Overall, I like this one, but again, I feel like its biggest harm point is the fact that, despite it being called Hoth, you'll forget it was even called Hoth when you finish it, because the final battle is against a fat Minoc for some reason. It's very silly and very on brand for Angry Birds, but Anyway, moving on to number 8, we have Naboo Invasion Birdseye. The tutorial for Angry Birds Star Wars 2. It's a fine episode. Honestly, I'm mostly just happy we finally got a tutorial episode that's actually just okay for once. That might be because I end up bringing it not as a tutorial, but instead just as any other episode. Anyway, accuracy. What's this supposed to be based on again? Probably, I guess in like Lego Star Wars terms, it would be Chapter 3, where we escape from Naboo and stuff. I think so, yeah. I don't know. I think it's just meant to be a tutorial level set on Naboo, not necessarily meant to be based on anything in particular. But, yeah, in terms of how it functions is that, fine. Again, not super accurate, but it's close enough, I guess. Oh, the levels. Obviously, being a tutorial episode, these levels are going to be very easy. But I have noticed that a lot of these levels can be pretty tricky, and I respect that. I respect how some of these levels aren't particularly easy, so yeah, that's good. New additions. I mean, it's the first episode in Star Wars 2. Of course it's gonna get a 5 for adding everything for that game. Other than that, yeah, it's a pretty decent episode, pretty decent starter. Just wish it was, specifically based on something and not just general Naboo tutorial stuff. Seriously, what was this all about? Anyway, moving on to number 7, we have the first Death Star. Now, this is a good one. Playing this for the first time and getting into the Death Star and then fighting within it, and then the final boss at the end, just everything about it is just perfect peak Angry Birds Star. Well, not exactly. You'll see why, but yeah. In terms of accuracy, yeah, I'd say this is very accurate to the movies. It's literally just everything. Minus the part where for some reason Rebel Squadron shows up very early when they're not supposed to be there yet, technically, but I don't know, I guess Rovio wanted to put in the blues as soon as they could, so because this was so early Angry Birds when Bomb wasn't the official third part of the trio yet. As much as I love the first Angry Birds movie, I'll never forgive it for replacing Bomb as the third member of the trio instead of the Blues. Though, to be fair, Red Chuck and Bomb were together a lot prior to that, so I can kind of understand it. Anyway. I'd say that's really the only other thing harming this episode. The levels themselves are, again, really fun. I love to play them. A lot. Like I said, there's really not much to say about the levels from here on out. Just think of an Angry Birds Star Wars level from the Death Star. Chances are it'll be really good. Or really tricky to 3-star. I don't know. I still like them. New additions. There's cannons and stuff, and those platforms you can destroy. Which, to my knowledge, technically they did originate from Rio, actually. The destroyable floating platforms. Actually, no, they originated from Classic, even. With those weird little black square things. They're just barely translucent. Oh my god. So yeah, I guess technically not a new addition. Oreo, the turrets, which are very annoying. But, they fit the Death Star theme, so. I also have the little pig ears on them. They're great. Shut up. But yeah. I really need to turn off my notifications. Do you guys like Shut Up? Genuinely, let me know if you guys like the whole Shut Up thing as a running gag. Because it's gonna stop soon after we start recording everything on PC, but yeah. I think this is gonna be like the last tablet video for a while now, at least. But yeah. Overall, the Death Star is a fun, great episode with fun levels, and also Darth Vader is great in this. I forgot about him. Oh, the final boss. Oh, the final boss is absolute. Oh, I forgot. I didn't. That's right. Okay, never mind. Yeah, great episode. Sorry about that, everybody. Number 6, Path of the Jedi. Oh, this one. It is technically a bonus, but it is a full episode that does fit with the others, so I'm ranking it. Why not? Okay, in terms of accuracy, what would have made this episode much better? If it were only Luke, because this is his whole thing. Obi-Wan, Han Solo, and I think even the Blues show up in these levels for some reason. And it's like, why? This isn't your training, this is Luke's. It's supposed to be his training to learn how to become a Jedi to help defeat Darth Vader and get 3 stars in every level, which is weird considering you need to 3-star every level in order to unlock him first, and it's very annoying, but oh well. Other than that, that's really the only thing keeping this one back. The levels themselves can be very hard a lot of the time, but I think that's kind of the point. This isn't supposed to be an easy challenge. This isn't supposed to be easy. This is supposed to be a challenge to really test your skills and prove you are worthy of the green lightsaber. So, other than that, there are some levels that are just stupidly hard to beat, and I don't like those, but for the most part, that is kind of the point of the episode, to be kind of hard, so I'll forgive it a little bit. And then as the new additions, Voodoo Pigs are very fun. Yoda Bird is obviously a very, very fun character, and I love the Darth Vader voodoo statue, by the way. Actually, I just realized the green force holding up. That might just be Yoda. Oh, I never even thought of it. I just thought of that now, actually. Like, right now, as I'm recording this, I just thought that the green force will... Oh, that's a fun detail. Awesome. Awesome. This episode's amazing, and I love it, and fits absolutely perfectly with Angry Birds Star Wars and everything, and... Yeah. Just a good, fun episode meant to test your skills. I like it. Moving on to number 5, we have Tatooine. The one that started it all. I have great fond memories of this episode, and I'm sure you do too. So, yeah. It's just a great tutorial episode. In terms of accuracy, why the heck did I give this one a 4 for accuracy? I think my one complaint is we never actually got to play in the cantina, and I wish we would have done that. I think that's a nitpick, actually, looking back. Yeah, I'm really not sure why I gave this one a 4. This really deserves a 5, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know. I think I tried to nerf this one a bit. I forget my justification for a 4, but yeah. This is just a great, super accurate episode. And yeah. It's fun. I like it a lot. The levels themselves, just great. They're just amazing. Just probably the first levels you think of when you think Angry Birds Star Wars. And that's how you know you made some great, iconic levels. When it's the first ones you think of. Like I said, really not much to say here. New additions, again, just added everything in Angry Birds Star Wars as a whole, and it's just great. This episode's great, and really not much to say beyond that. I love it. It's peak. Let's move on to number 4. Cloud City. Oh, this one is just perfect. Well, almost perfect. But almost a near perfect Angry Birds Star Wars episode. First of all, I can't think of a single thing that happened in this that didn't happen in the movies. Or something that didn't happen in this that did happen in the movies that should have happened. Because it is just the perfect Angry Birds representation of the Cloud City scenes in The Empire Strikes Back. Except for maybe the fact that Luke's there at first, but who cares about that? Levels themselves, again, the biggest problem is just how hard they can be. Which is just, again, sometimes, for the most part, the levels themselves are fine. I'm perfectly okay with them. But yeah. And as for new additions, we got these cool vents that you can push. Finally, something unique with these things. And they can also, like, push blocks, too. I think vents could always do that. Not to mention Lando Bird, who's very fun. Even though it's kind of weird that Chuck's doing blackface, but I think it's mostly just a reference to how Lando's original purpose was to essentially replace Han Solo's role until the decision was made that Harrison Ford to return for a third movie, so I'll forgive it for that. Overall, again, just a fun, perfect episode. Again, boss fight's really fun. really makes it feel like the finale of The Empire Strikes Back, and yeah, this is just the perfect representation of Cloud City in Angry Birds Star Wars. I couldn't make it better if I tried. Moving on to number 3. Revenge of the Pork. Pork side. Oh, it's almost perfect. You were so close. Because I don't give out 5s loosely, okay? If there's just one small detail off, I will not give it a 5. Okay, I won't do that, but like, I think what mostly gives for is just that the entire episode takes place on Mustafar, even though the cutscenes very much don't show it, and it's pretty jarring that way. But like, other than that, it's just an amazing episode, and I love it a lot. Oh yeah, it's just great. The levels. Oh, the levels. Oh, the levels are very fun to destroy, especially like the lava and stuff. And just burning down entire structures is so fun. I think my only problem with the levels is just that they can be very hard sometimes again, but you know, I don't care at this point. This is just so fun to do. Oh, the new additions. Every character introduced here is from the movie, thank God! You start with General Grievous, and then you get the Shock Trooper. I don't remember the exact order. General Grievous, and then the Shock Trooper. Why is it just the Shock Trooper in terms of like playable clone troopers? Now I think about it, because that's kind of weird. How come I don't get a regular clone trooper? Anyway, it doesn't matter. And then Anakin himself, who is quite possibly one of the most powerful characters in the game. It's amazing how they made levels that are actually hard for him to beat, actually. Oh, that's another thing too. Besides these little mine droids here, not only is the lava fun, but also you have these little lava rocks thing that can just burn wood, and just burning the wood is so satisfying. It's like, it's amazing and it's perfect, and I love it. I love this episode. I love it a lot. It's probably one of the best Angry Birds Star Wars has to offer. If you couldn't tell by its very high placement. See, I told you. We get to this one later, and oh boy, do I love it. Moving on to number 2. Rise of the Clones, Port Side. Yes, I actually think this is better than Revenge of the Pork. I guess technically Revenge of the Pork did deserve it, but I don't care, man. These levels are more fun than Revenge of the Pork, whatever. Yeah, it was Revenge of the Pork, actually. Sorry, my throat gets really dry after doing that voice for so long. But yeah. This is probably perfection in Angry Birds Star Wars. In terms of accuracy, yeah, there was a scene in Attack of the Clones where Obi-Wan went to Kamino and got his butt kicked by Jango Fett, and this is perfectly representative of that. It's great, not to mention that for an overwhelming majority of the levels, Jango Fett and even his son Boba Fett are at least in them. It is very rare you'll find a level without them in this episode, though they do exist, and I'm not huge fans of those levels either, don't worry. But they're made up for by the level design. Oh, the not just water, okay? Not just water. They redeemed themselves after the other one with water. Because now the water is actually moving. And it's moving fast. So when you destroy something underwater, it'll start moving in the next direction and just cause a huge chain reaction of destruction every single time. And it's so fun and satisfying every single time. I don't even care I don't get 3 stars on these, because it's just that fun and satisfying. And in terms of new additions, okay, no, maybe the destroyable platforms were technically first seen in the Birdside version of this, but like, at the same time, the running water is also very fun. Technically, they were both introduced in the same episode, yes. So, both of them introducing the same thing, causing infinite destruction with just pure accuracy to the movie. It is perfection. Except this last level. Again, what is it with this, that one level being so annoying and so hard to beat? I hate this level, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew this. Anyway, with that being said, other than this one, it is perfect. And I love everything about it. Moving on. Once and for all. To number 1. You know what? I'm not even going to say what it is right away. Because you know it. I know it. Before you clicked on this video. No, as you're watching this video. Before you click on this video. Before you even knew I would be making this video. Before I made even my first ranking video, you already knew. Number 1 is Death Star 2. Okay, so maybe I rigged the game a little, but still. Ranking this any lower than number 1 would be a war crime. It is just that good. In terms of accuracy, name a single thing inaccurate about this episode whatsoever. Because there's basically nothing. It is everything in Return of the Jedi to a T ported directly into this game. And it's perfect. The levels themselves, again, there are very hard levels here, and I don't like having to 3-star them. But that is entirely the point. This is the Empire's last possible defense against your attack. Meaning they are going to try as hard as they possibly can to prevent you from winning whatsoever. And as a result, these are some of the hardest, toughest levels in the game that only a true Jedi can master. Okay. And new additions. Yes. Just. Okay, no, maybe this episode didn't actually add anything that new. Like I said, I had to rig the game a little, but like. You know why. We all know why. That final level. This finale alone. As hard as it can be, honestly. This is a very hard finale, but just how fun and satisfying it is to beat it every single time is what makes this episode so great. So I guess technically, actually, if you think about it, Darth Vader is a new addition in terms of like a playable flock. Oh, you know what? Actually, I might be onto something there. Now that he's only ever seen in the last level, unfortunately, but you know what? He's later used as technically a power-up, I guess, in Star Wars 2, and that works for me. That works for me. And so, there you have it. Every Angry Birds Star Wars episode ranked. And possibly just every Angry Birds episode in general ranked. So, yeah. This is probably the end of the series. Unless you guys want to see a Bad Piggies ranking, which I might do. If you want to see that. So let me know if you want to see a Bad Piggies ranking. You're probably not watching up to this point, but I don't care, because I'm going to make a community post about it later anyways. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. I said, knowing damn well this is over an hour. Thank you everybody for watching. If you liked this video, you know what to do. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!